I can understand that thought process. As an adult, I can tell like this is more of an adult mindset. But this is coming from a child's perspective, and yeah, you're right. If the parent is doing like grave harm, very traumatical things to the child, yeah, that is definitely a parent that should have gotten themselves some professional help um, before they had children, or once they realize that they're damaging their children more than they're actually helping them. But that's not the reality of the world. Um, we all know. I mean, people, a lot of people do not understand that what they do causes trauma. They're just repeating life cycles. If they were disciplined as a child, they may discipline. Or, if they were dealt with harshly as a child, then they deal with their children harshly. It's just repetitive. They repeat what they know because to them that's been normalized. And one thing that I always say is like as we progress in society, the children that's coming through now are not like the children that came through 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 80 years ago. Not the same. Not the same at all. These kids are self thinking, they're very aware. And what we used to do is beat it out of them because we needed them to conform so that, for their safety, I guess. That's, the way it's always been explained. Oh, it's for their safety, but we have to learn how to parent a little bit differently. Be a little bit more understanding, have a little bit more patience, have a little bit more compassion. They came out with like we have gentle parenting now. And with the state of the mind of a lot of the kids now, you know, apparently the way that some of these parents are parenting isn't working, and we can't keep blaming it on like the children are just being that way. You have to dig deeper into why the children are reacting that way. I know, like when it came to of my generation, we were labeled problem kids, and the kids that were what is it in the 70s, they were growing up, like flower power, the hippie movement, they were labeled as problem kids. Older generations just never understood younger generation, the thought process. And instead of like allowing that child to be themselves and find their way, it was just, we just try to keep things the same. So, we stomp out and, kill the spirit of the child until they conform. It's a lot of people that's out here. I talk to them all the time that had their own aspirations and their own dreams, and it's not uncommon. I mean, we all know about it. Uh, and whose parents were adamant on them like pursuing a particular path. But the way I look at it is maybe sometimes these children are acting and behaving in a manner because this is probably they have to learn to navigate the society that they're going to be raised in. Like this society that's going through right now, if we were parenting them in a way that was in the 1960s, they would not be prepared to have a voice. That's why we have all these kids that are standing up to ICE, and they're standing up and they're protesting, and they're the kids in Mississippi that overturned the Senate races. This is why we have stuff like this, free thinking, because they have to be prepared for the society that they are going to be participating in. And if we keep trying to conform them to an old way or old thinking, they're not prepared for the life that they're actually going to be living in. They're not going to be like streetwise and book wise. I mean, there has to be a balance between that. If you only strive the kid to be smart and intelligently, they make a lot of decisions when they're socializing with other children. So it's got to be more of a balance. They have to learn how to communicate with the peers and interact with the peers, and also not lose who they are as a person. And that's the part that I think a lot of kids struggle with when they are getting close to age, is they're trying to figure out who they are and not who they're wanting to be. And I understand that part where you say you hope your children never leave you. We all hope our children never leave us, but we cannot control the way that our beliefs and our thought process affects another person, because sometimes it just doesn't land right. And that could be, you not take, that could be taking communication classes, talking with somebody about our tones and perceptions, learning to communicate better. A lot of people don't think that they don't have a problem with communication. Some people, they don't like to communicate. They just want you to do what they want you to do, and that's it. And no communication, no conversation about it. And that can be like that's an emotional thing that's an emotional warfare tool that people use against other people. Not communicating is just as deadly as over communication. You can hurt somebody with your words, and you can hurt somebody by not saying anything. They're the same. It's the same way. And communication is an art. A lot of people just have not mastered communication. And it shows like a lot with the people that you talk to. You can tell people who have good communication skills and people that just don't have it. And there's a lot of people that don't have good communication skills. And in order for anything to be resolved, you have to be able to communicate it through. And if you don't have those communication skills, it's always going to be an issue and a problem. And that's what's going to make the rift in the family. And there's nothing that anybody can do about that unless they're willing to do the work themselves. And a lot of people don't see a problem with themselves. It's just easier to keep saying that the problem is somebody else. You have to reflect, sometimes on yourself. You can't always be, oh, it's their problem, oh, it's their problem, oh, well, they just should have just did it this way. I think that people should sometimes go inward and see what role did they play and own it and apologize for it and move past it. And that's it. And just learn to communicate better. You know, take classes on communication. That's what I did. I had to take classes. I was not a good communicator because I used my I was so withdrawn that my thoughts stayed in my head and I could never get it out. And that's why when I got on TikTok, that's what I came out here for, to find my voice and to get used to hearing my thoughts come out. Because a lot of the time, what I be saying here and what comes out was two totally different things. And I never noticed it until I started getting here. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, I missed those parts. I said it here, but I didn't get it out here. And so for me, I'm trying to learn fluidity in mind and inward and outward. And to make me a stronger speaker so that when I communicate with people that I'm communicating more effectively myself. All right, peace, love, and light.